I think I agree with everything that he said, and I share the moral outrage entirely, and I share the moral outrage with everybody on this panel about how horrific and just morally repugnant these slaughters are. But when I listen to you guys talking about how you're scared for your own kids, and I have a daughter, I get being scared. If we're going to start telling people that they should be scared about this is going to happen to them, we should at least put some of this in perspective. There are about 54 million kids in Americans who go to K through 12 in America. In the last 29 years, 170 kids have been killed in school shootings.
But how does that compare to like if my kid goes to school in Great Britain or Canada? I mean, you see some parents are like, should we leave?
One school shooting, look,
it's too many.
For me, my approach is the exact same way it was about terrorism. The number of people killed on 9/11 was not, you could say, well, more people die in car accidents every year. I don't care. It's unacceptable. The moral outrage is entirely valid and justified. But if we're going to be telling people, you can't switch lanes. You're absolutely right to be outraged about the crime. But if we're going to tell people they should be terrified about their kids being dropped off at school, we should remind them that their kids are more in danger on the drive to school statistically than they are at the school.
Jonah, we can't do this. No, but we can't. But listen, a child's life cannot be a statistic, right? You can't tell the parents of Joaquin Oliver of Parkland. You can't tell Fred Gutenberg.
Yeah, but that's
you
moral
can't
bullying.
tell my cousins.
I'm making a basic point to say that you shouldn't tell people that they should be terrified.
If it were your child, it would not be a statistic. It would be a tragedy that you would never, ever
That's moral
recover
bullying.
from.
Why is it moral bullying?
You're making it sound as if I don't have compassion for these people.
You're
Of course
talking
I do.
about it as if it's a statistic and probabilities that we should
I'm saying you
shouldn't
you shouldn't tell the audience that this is the thing that they should be so paralyzed with fear about their own kids when their kids are more likely to die from a lot of other things.
Well, hold on,
So
Jonah, of going to school. And you know what happened because of that? What happened because of that is that we have car seat laws that passed, that we have seatbelt laws, that we have speed laws.
Okay.
And so it used to be that more people died of car accidents. More kids died of car accidents. More kids died of pool accidents. We have fences around pools because we passed regulation in this is one of the only places where not doing anything has become status quo and something as a country we accept. And shame on us for accepting that. And I'm not morally bullying you. I've got children I care about, and you do too.
Yeah, I do. But when you're making it sound as if you point out that the risks to your kids are that there are greater things. If you want to protect your kids, there are other things that you have more control and agency over than random madmen shooking up schools.
So we shouldn't do anything about it?
No, I don't know why you keep wanting to go to that. This is
because you're making this into a statistics conversation.
No, I am trying
Instead of about the fact that there's children being buried in coffins adorned with Superman decals.
And I said I am morally outraged by that. And I think it's grotesque, and one shot child is too many as far as I'm concerned. But if you're going to take that moral outrage and then tell people they should be paralyzed with fear that this is going to happen to them and their kids, you're doing them a disservice.
I am not telling them they should be paralyzed with fear.
But no one
I am
is
telling them
saying
they should pick up the phone and call their senators and
fine.
telling them that it's been 10 years in Sandy Hook and that we haven't done anything is a national shame. So paralyzed with fear and paralyzed with acceptance and resignation is what we've been for the last 10 years. And it's enough of that.
Casey?
No more paralysis. Get your asses in gear and call your senators.
That's fine. I'm doing analysis. I am not doing activism. And if you want to tell everybody to call their senators, that's fine. That's not my job.
The point got killed.
Wait a second.
That's moral bullying.
Wait a second.
No,
Hold on.
bullying.
Excuse me. I want to hear from both of you, and I want to hear from Casey, but I also want to clarify this point. Moral bullying, the idea of you want to provide perspective. You want people to know that there are other ways that children die. Got it. Yeah. But both can be true. You can also be fearful of gun violence and also talk to your kids about other aspects of it. Casey, I mean, you have the same moral outrage, but you also have the idea of the objectivity and the approach to it. What can be done?
Right. Well, so I just want to say to your point, Jonah, that I was not saying people should be afraid of this. That was not what the point I was trying to make earlier. I was trying to say people are because they see what has happened. They are afraid. And your point is well taken that there are a million different ways that your kid can be harmed. But the reality is, as Ana was saying, there are regulations and rules that we all agree on. It is much, much harder to get a driver's license and buy a car than it is to buy and use an AR-15, which is kind of, when you think about it, we regulate cars because they're giant machines that are capable of killing people.